How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with a brand new movie review. How's your day going? I hope it's going good, because mine certainly is. I just got back from seeing the new A24 science fiction action comedy by the name of Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, which will be having a wider release come April 8th. I got the chance to check it out in IMAX, and my goal, my job in this review is to convince you all why I believe this is a must-see movie-going experience. I'm going to give you my thoughts on why I believe that all in this spoiler-free review. But before we jump into it, make sure you're checking me out on all my other social media accounts. If you're new to the channel and love early movie reviews, TV breakdowns, and live streams, well, come and join the community by subscribing and hitting that notification bell. As you all can see on the screen now, if you enjoyed this movie review, well, make sure to give it a thumbs up and also share the review. But more importantly, once you've seen this film, we have to talk about it in the comments, from your thoughts on the direction, the score, the cinematography, the performances, the story, the multiverse of madness, as well as the action. And hey, maybe this film didn't work for you. Let's still have a discussion about it. Or maybe you loved it. Let's talk about it all in the comments below. So when I saw this trailer about a month ago, I was sold. A24, I'm a big fan. Not all their films are perfect, but the thing I love about A24, they take risk, and more importantly, expect the unexpected. This film gave me more than I could ever imagine, and I'm going to just sell you on it here. This is my pitch for you. If you were to, in a multiverse, in another universe, if A24 would have had The Matrix meets The Terminator, meets Kill Bill, meets Jet Li, the one in Interstellar, are you sold? Are you interested? Well, you're going to get that in this film, plus some more. The creativity, the freshness, the craziness is all here in this film. And I want to start this review off talking about the writers, the directors, the Daniels, who are absolutely fantastic. This is their masterpiece, in my opinion. This film, to me, felt like a passion project from the heart. It felt like a personal connection. It had purpose. It meant something to them, and it completely radiates off the screen. And getting more into the direction here, there was so much attention to detail, and I really mean when I say this, every single frame had purpose, and I love that about the direction. It didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel forced. It wasn't half-assed. This is some of the best direction I have seen in a very long time, and counter that with their writing. When it comes to the writing, which was incredible, the film had everything. It had heart. It had emotions. It had laughs, and I'm telling you right now, the action is absolutely fantastic. This movie has everything. Now, transitioning into the cinematography, which I thought the film was absolutely staggering to look at, from being fresh and unique. And we're traveling the multiverse in this film, and each multiverse had its own unique look from the previous one. Absolutely incredible when it comes to look. The score and the actual soundtrack was truly mind-bending, and it transports you into this insane, crazy film that we have here. But speaking of insane, these performances are next level, starting off with Michelle Yeoh, who I've been a fan of since like Super Cop, and seeing her with Jackie Chan back in the day, her coming over and doing Tomorrow Never Dies, and, you know, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I mean, her career is just, it speaks for itself. She's one of the best actresses of her generation. This, to me, and I've seen a good amount of her films, this is the best performance I've seen her as, and that isn't knocking her the previous work. Just this, to me, not only, let me just touch on the action, Michelle is still an incredible martial artist. She is absolutely incredible in this film when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, which we all know her for. It's the acting, and it's the performance. She gives us everything in this role. She is not only a mother in this role, she is someone's daughter, she is someone's wife, she's her own person. Her discovery in this film, her finding her inner strength. Michelle Yeoh, I don't know if this film will have the attention that I think it deserves, but in my personal mind, in my personal Oscars, I'm giving her a nomination. I'm giving her the award. This was an impeccable, amazing, mind-bending performance. And speaking of mind-bending, my man who I haven't seen since the Goonies, Huy Quan, who plays Wang, I thought he was amazing. I mean, again, seeing him from Indiana Jones and the Goonies, he's been gone for a while, but he is back, and I loved his character. He might have been my favorite character in the film. He is the husband of our main character, Evelyn. He is the father of Joy. He is just a beacon of hope. He's a man that fights with kindness, and I love what we get with this character. But speaking of fighting, there's a villain in this film by the name of Joy, played by Stephanie Chu, who the only time I've seen her was in Shang-Chi. She stole the movie. She was so incredible as Joy, who is the daughter of our main character, Evelyn, but she also, in the multiverse, she's our big bad, and she has her reasons why she wants to destroy all the multiverses and just cause chaos. What an absolute, and it her and Evelyn, the back and forth between Joy and the villain, and just the performances, the mother and daughter discussion, the battle, the fighting, the happiness, the joy, the sadness. The trio, the family within itself is one of my favorite portrayals of family. It's just like, it's love, it's hate, it's anger. It's just so much that they convey in their performances, and I absolutely love them. And I can't forget the papa of the family, played by James Hung, who is Evelyn's dad. I love that connection, that narrative that we have in there. And then I can't leave out the Scream Queen herself, Jamie Lee Curtis as the tax inspector. Oh my goodness, Jamie Lee Curtis. I love Jamie Lee Curtis. For my horror fans out there know why Halloween's my favorite horror film of all time. And she's also just a great actress. But Jamie, it's good to see you in this type of film. She was great. And she's not just like a big name actress who makes like a cameo. She's in this film a lot. She actually has like a really interesting arc, especially when it comes to some fingers going on in this film. I just kind of leave it at that. But the cast was just absolutely incredible. Transitioning to my thoughts on the story. This might be the craziest, wildest, most creative multiverse film I have ever seen. The way the film is able to provide you with explaining the multiverse in this world and the world building through exposition was some of the best exposition I've ever seen in the movie. Again, I mentioned how this reminded me of The Matrix. And you all remember The Matrix, dating it back, one of the greatest sci-fi films in my opinion of all time. You remember how you would be in the Matrix and they would have to load in and program you to know Kung Fu or to know how to fly a helicopter. This film has a similar concept, but here's the twist, and I don't want to give too much away, but let's say you want to fight someone, right? And they want to enter it in your brain through the multiverse. You have to pick a skill from someone in the multiverse. So if you want to fight someone, there's another version of you in the multiverse that's a good fighter. But in order for you to obtain that skill, you have to do some of the weirdest things I have ever seen in the film. I'll just give you a taste, and this hurts. You got to give yourself a paper cut intentionally 5 times in your finger, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are some other crazy, ridiculous things you have to do to obtain the skills in this film, and I absolutely love that element in the film. It's just some of the weirdest stuff I've ever seen. But let me get back into the more seriousness of the film. The themes. This film to me shows you what it means to be a person experiencing life. The little things, the hurtful things, the loving moment. This film is important to me because it shows you what it's like to feel and have emotions and to talk to your emotions, speak through your emotions. And that to me just hit me so in the heart because I just love that element in the film. The heart that the film has about family, relationships between a mother and a daughter, a husband and a wife, a dad and a daughter. It's just so much this film tackles, all within this craziness going on in the multiverse. I can't applaud them enough from the writing. This to me is what movies are all about. I have to say it now when it comes to when people say, and I agree with this sometimes when it says, I go to the movies to escape real world, right? I go to see Star Wars to be in the Millennium Falcon and travel across space with Han Solo and Chewie. I want to time travel with Marty McFly and the DeLorean and stuff like that. But every now and then, you want a film to relate to. You want to feel. You want to be able to be a part of the journey. And that's what this film had to offer me. I related to the characters. The film brought me so many incredible moments that reminded me why movies are important and why it's an experience like nothing other than going to the movies, being with a crowd of people. And the crowd I was with was eating this film up just as much as I was. I heard people laughing, being in awe in the action, crying when it came to the emotional moments. This is what movies are all about. I can't stress it enough. This is a movie-going experience for the ages, in my opinion. Be kind, show love. It's just another thing that kind of comes to mind. And there are some criticisms. I do have some criticisms here that I want to transition into, and there's not a lot, but here are a couple. Some of the more comedic beats that the film had to offer were just a little bit too ridiculous for my personal taste, like the hot dog fingers. And it was funny for a bit, but the more and more they kind of leaned into the comedy, it just didn't always work for me. And that's just like a little nitpick. I will say the biggest thing that I have as far as the issue, this film's almost about 2.5 hours, which again, it's multiverse and there's multiple versions of you and explaining this and introducing the characters and storylines. There's a lot that the film tackles, but I do have to say when it comes to the ending, there was a moment that if this film would have ended, perfect ending. It would have just been just the perfect way to end the film. There's another like 15 minutes left in the film, and not that it was bad, because when we actually get to the ending, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm here I am being emotional again because the way the film ends. But there was like a minute of time before where I thought it should have ended, and when it actually ends, that space in the between there, all beautiful stuff, all great stuff, some great action, some great comedy beats. But I'm like, oh man, I wish they could have found a way to just, for my personal taste, ended it a little bit better in my opinion. But that's honestly my only criticism. So before I give you all my overall thoughts and the score for this film, make sure if you haven't already to like, share, comment, and of course subscribe. Overall, everything, everywhere, all at once is everything I want in the film. It managed to provide me with entertainment, laughs, emotion, and heart. This is, and I can't stress enough, the craziest multiverse film I have ever seen, and it had some of the best action I've seen in a very long time. I cannot stress enough how highly I recommend this film to see in theaters, and if you can, see it in IMAX. Overall, I'm going to give this film, and I haven't given this score in a very long time. I find it hard to believe that this will not be in my top 5 by the end of the year. I'm going to give this film a 5 out of 5. It might not be perfect to you, but this film just gave me everything. It reminded me so much about being a human, what it means to be a human, family, emotions, self-journey, self-care, loving others that love you. This film has everything on top of. It's an incredible science fiction film. It has an incredible explanation of the multiverse, and it actually kind of makes sense within this narrative. The performances, the direction, the action, I cannot stress enough how incredible the hand-to-hand combat kung fu in this film is. Like I mentioned, Matrix, Interstellar, Terminator, Kill Bill. Go see this film, and when you do, let me know your thoughts on it. Pros, cons, your favorite moment, moments that didn't work for you, the most ridiculous thing the characters had to do to obtain skills. Let's talk about that and everything in between in the comments below. I can't thank you enough for watching this review. If you stuck around to this point, make sure you're liking, sharing, commenting, and come and join the community by subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Thank you again for watching the review. Hope you're staying safe. As you can see on the screen now, subscribe to my channel. Check out my other content. We'll catch you on the next video.